Hi guys. Oh, I have a little friend with me. So I'm getting ready. I'm just doing the pre-shuffle for the Oakman and the collection of Pixies. Focus on that. Here we go. And I was feeling very drawn. Like I haven't picked the decks yet. So this is kind of what goes on behind the scenes. A little behind the scenes here. I did my singing bowl. I'm kind of clearing the air, clearing my mind. And just trying to be open. And you know, that's what receiving messages is. Just what do you feel drawn to do? What do you feel drawn to pick up? So I was feeling very drawn to pick up my Starseed Oracle deck, and I picked it up, and this little lady was on the deck. Oh, here we go, focus. She goes, she's very fast. The camera can't even get there. It's one of the few ladybugs left in the room. So it's just kind of confirming for me. Oh my God, where'd it go? I don't know where it went. Oh dear, okay. Oh, no, she's still in my hand. Okay. I have stepped on the odd one, I'm sorry to say. But they're so small and I'm so big. Yeah, but this one. So I think it's just a confirmation to, yeah, see, Lily agrees too. Lily's actually in the room right now. She has a new cushion over there. It's a Spider-Man cushion. Hey, Lily? Fix your cushion. The Spider-Man. She's a superhero, eh, Lily? There you go. Okay. So yeah, oh gosh, now I lost it again. I don't know where it is. Okay, so that's it. I gotta figure out what other decks we're gonna use. And yeah, it's just a confirmation for me. So that's how it works sometimes. Isn't it funny? I pick it up. There's a little ladybug sitting on there just waiting, just waiting. All right, guys, that's it. We're gonna go into the reading. Well, I have to do my pre-shuffle and stuff first, so see you soon. Hi guys, I'm back. All the decks have been picked out. And I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah, I think so. I noticed something. Oh yeah, so this is going to be the Oakmen. I think it's the last time they're coming in. I don't know. They might pop around again. They do what they want to do. But, so I had this thought in my head. This message, whatever it is, pretty much all week. That, I'm going to do a double message this week. It almost feels like a transition from here to here. And so that's how it's going to be. And I was a little hesitant because my energy's been a little bit low. It is kind of coming up on allergy season here, like seasonal for me. Mine are slowly. And one of the things I notice is I start to get kind of tired leading up to it. And so my energy's been a little bit low. And yes, I'm drinking my nettle tea. I started today. I thought, gosh, it feels like it's going to be very energy demanding to be pulling in like 2 messages. I'm still contemplating. But anyways, that's what I'm supposed to do. And, but you know, as I sat down and even just started shuffling the cards and getting into my zone, it's funny. I don't know if, you know, anyone else who does reading, especially energy readings like this with tarot, you know, when you first start out, it's really exhausting. I guess it's like anything that you're training yourself for, anything that you're learning, it's really tiring when you first start. And then you kind of build up your stamina. So one of the things I have found though that's really interesting, and I've noticed a shift maybe in the last 5 months or so, where if I don't do readings for a while, I notice my energy goes down. And then as soon as I get back into doing readings, it's almost like being replenished. And I don't know if I'm somehow like shifting how the energy is being used. Before I was putting an awful lot of my own into it. And maybe that's kind of in a way fighting the messages that are coming in where you should just open up. And I do feel like I get like this energy boost from it. I feel pretty pumped. So let's see. So there's all their decks are chosen. The Oakmen still want to go with Wild Unknown Animal Spirit, Oracle and Tarot. Now, the collective of Pixies want the Starseed Oracle deck, so it should be interesting to see where that goes, and the Millennium Thoth Tarot deck. Now, there's a deck that sits between them. And as I was about to turn the camera on, I thought I had all the decks out, and I'm looking at the space, like they're sitting on my table. They're sitting here like this on the table, and there's this space between them. And it just felt like something needed to be between them, almost like a bridge from whatever these messages were, you know, coming from the Oakmen to this collective of Pixies energy. So the deck that was called to me was the Moonology deck. Which really, if you think about it, it's all about cycles, and it's kind of like a cycle change to go from the Oakmen to a collective of Pixies. So let's get started. Oh, and I hope you guys don't mind that I do like the Oakmen as a premiere. I actually do that because I know if you're there at the right time, you can watch the whole video without any ads. So if, like my little, there you go. You can watch it without ads the first time if you can get in there on time. If you don't get in there on time, you might have to see the odd ad. I have to eat too, so that's how it works. I know somebody said in one of the comments, oh yeah, I was concerned because YouTube was putting a lot of ads in my video, so I made a point now, and I go in and I just put one at the beginning, one in the middle, and one at the end. They were putting, I counted at one point for a 30-minute video. Now, I don't know if all those ads would appear for every single person, but there's the potential for at least one person to get all of them. One 30-minute ad one time, they had 15 ad spots in there. It's like every 2 minutes. An ad placement. So I think I posted that in the community section a while ago. Once somebody commented and said, well, you don't have to put any ads at all, you know, that's up to you. I'm thinking, oh yeah, you go to work every day and you tell them I don't need to get paid. That's okay. I'm going to do this for free. 7 days a week. Well, I don't do it 7 days. 5 days a week. How many hours a day? It's okay. You don't have to pay me. I'm going to live under a bridge. Yeah, I'm good with that. I might smell and get really skinny and have tooth rot, but it's okay. Come on, right? All right, so let's get into the Oakmen. So the Oakmen, and I feel like, well, we're going to see. I don't feel like anything. I'm just going to let them talk. And this is what sits between the Oakmen and the collective of Pixies. What sits between the Oakmen and the collective of Pixies. That's good. One card flipped. Well, of course. New moon eclipse. Expect powerful change. Okay, that seems good. That seems appropriate. I think there's going to be a lot of powerful change throughout the world. I think a lot of people are very resistant to it. I think a lot of people are working on a fear-based system right now as well. I think a lot of people, well, there is a lot of fear going on, but there is this powerful change. I mean, it is a big change. It is a big change, everything we're going through. The bottom is interesting. I don't know if it's really, the bottom deck cards are going to be interesting, but it says a new romantic cycle begins, new moon in Libra. I do want to say, with that being at the bottom, it does feel like that this, powerful change that we are, being asked, well, being told to expect, not being asked, you're being told, expect it, is that it does bring balance. It brings balance and harmony back into the system that was imbalanced. There was a lot of imbalance here. There's so much color that sits behind this new moon, this eclipse. Oh, look at the color in that. I hope it shows through. It looks sort of white, like looking at the screen for me. But looking at it like live, there's tons of different colors that are coming through behind that. And whenever I get the rainbow of colors too, I often do think about LGBTQT, I always get it wrong, you know what I mean. The gay and lesbian community, and to me I also associate, when I get that message, with just people in general that are seen as different, or they do something different, or their lifestyle is different, and it's not the way it's always been. It's a threat to me because you want to live differently than me. So expect powerful change. Things are changing, that's for sure. So let's get started. I'm sorry if I seem like, I seem like, you're doing something. Well, I'm dealing with two different cards here, and I'm just trying to give you the message that I'm sort of receiving, but also try to stay a couple steps ahead of myself for what I feel is wanted next. So I'm going to the Oakman with the the whale. I'm not pulling cards yet. I don't feel that I've shuffled enough. So this is going very deep. So this might be a very deep message. So yeah, the Oakman, I'm going to pull all of their cards out first. You know, yeah, I'm going to, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull all their cards out first, let them sit on the table, and then I'm going to do the collective of Pixies. So bear with me. If you're watching this as a premiere, you can chit chat with each other as I see you often too. It's kind of nice, y'all get to socialize in there. And yeah, sometimes I get in, sometimes I don't, because I usually set it for 6 a.m. Usually I'm up. I had the craziest dream last night, and then I woke up and I was exhausted. I was like, oh my God, that was an adventure. I had this dream that, I don't know, my son and I went downtown Toronto, and we were getting ready to leave, and all of a sudden there was these other kids in the car. I'm like, what are you guys doing here? You didn't come down here with us. And they all said, well, we need a ride home. And I sort of looked at them, they looked sort of familiar, and thought, okay, I think those are kids that live in our neighborhood. I said, okay. So then I kind of turned around, and then as I turned back into my car, it had more seats in the back. Again, there was a whole other row, and there was more kids. And then before I knew it, the car had like 6 rows of seats, and there's all these kids expecting a ride home. And then at one point I said, you know, guys, I'm just going to drop a bunch of you off near the school, and you can walk home, because I can't stop at everybody's house and drop you off. And then some of them were complaining, oh, we take the school bus, and we live too far away. Why is this my responsibility? It was the weirdest dream. And then I just ended up, I said, fine, I'll take y'all home. And then I woke up. I was tired. It was kind of stressful. So yeah, I'm filling in the time here while I shuffle for you. I know some people have complimented me on the part in my hair, I guess, because you do get to look at that quite a bit, and then someone else does not like looking at the top of my head. I really have to laugh at some of the comments. You don't want to look at your head. Can't you show us the cards? All right. Cards are out for the Oakman. I just noticed something. See, this is why it's good too to take a time out. You know, I was talking about all the color that I see in this eclipse card here. You see the Oakman, there's really no color in there. But the collective of Pixies, you can see that color comes all around from the tops of their heads. They have that little splash of color in the same way. Kind of like the Oakmen were sort of this very stable, grounded, older, fatherly type energy. You know, to help us through, you know, a big shift as it was. And now this is, you know, about kind of embracing love with an attitude of fun and joy, a spark of life, you know. They're skinny too. They're really skinny. Ooh. Gosh, I love the colors in these cards. Wow, this is going to be interesting. I'll put this over here. Oh wow, this is very interesting. I don't know how much time I'm going to spend with the old Oakman. I'm excited about the new information kind of coming in with the collective of Pixies. I think they're okay with that. They're okay. But we will start with them. Wow. My goodness. All right. Give me a second, guys. Interesting. Wow. Okay, I'm looking. Okay, sorry. The underline of the underline is quite interesting on one of the decks. Here, I'll show you what came out, just so you can think about too while I'm contemplating. So the 3 cards that came out for the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle deck is Swan, is the first one. Swan. Peacock. And Sea Serpent. Now, in the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Tarot deck, we have the Hanged Man. There's that poor little bat again. We have the 6 of Wands. And we have the Father of Swords. The underline in the Oracle deck is the Nightingale. And everything, yeah, it doesn't, there's something very interesting about the underline here. The underline of the tarot is the 3 of Swords. And what's quite interesting, if you saw the first reading I did with the Oakmen where I asked them, you know, what they were trying to tell us, is the Tower in reverse. And then under that is the Magician. Kind of feel like it's the energy here with the 3 of Swords and the Nightingale, the 2 different underlying energies, is that 3 of Swords produced from that Tower moment where everything got shut down, everything changed, we all had to look at our lives differently, we had to look at how we were doing everything differently, how we were communicating, everything, like all sorts of stuff changed in a very big way for us. And, you know, sometimes I feel so limited in how I'm describing that, because I know a lot of people that are involved in this firsthand really probably don't have a lot of time to watch YouTube videos or watch YouTube videos or anything like this, because they're so in it. So, you know, when I talk about the Tower moment, that is obviously a massive Tower moment for so many people, working like day and night and just surrounded by grief and frustration. I do see this, though, with the 3 of Swords sitting on top of that, as stating that, yes, this has been painful. There's been lessons in this. There's been the feeling of bondage. Perhaps, you know, not being able, not feeling like you could breathe, not feeling like your heart is beating the way it should beat. But yet we have the Nightingale here to remind us. It is just almost that final reminder that it is always darkest before the dawn. It really truly is. It is always darkest before the dawn. And when that nightingale sings, you will hear it, and it will light the way for you to meet the dawn. That's really why it's there. It will light the way for you to meet the dawn. And I'm kind of feeling like that's where the Oakmen have taken us. Almost like they're just seconds away from the Nightingale showing up, and somehow I feel like the collective of Pixies is that Nightingale energy. Because it's not quite the dawn, it's this song of hope before, you know, the twilight shows itself in the sky and it gets a little bit brighter and you know the sun is going to rise. It's that little song of hope before you see any light. That's what I feel like the message is coming through here with the Oakmen into a collective of Pixies. So going into the tarot cards that we see here, the Hanged Man is sitting under the Swan, the 6 of Wands is sitting under the Peacock, and the Father of Swords is sitting under the Sea Serpent. These 2 cards are looking at each other. The Peacock, I get a lot of crown chakra energy. a lot of very elevated, intuitive thinking and knowing. I also, I get the Nine of Pentacles out of it as well. I have counted, there are 9 eyes in this, including the one in the peacock's eye, and they do remind me of pentacles. They look like pentacles, they're golden and round. And because the peacock is also often associated with someone who is in the process of looking after themselves quite well. You know, you can look at the Nine of Cups as someone who has emotional stability. It's very happy. They're able to sustain that on their own. It's usually the Nine of Cups is someone who's sitting on their own with a whole bunch of cups lined up, because they're doing that. They're keeping their emotions and their happiness. They realize that they're responsible for that and they're generating it. So it is an independence. It's not to say that that's actually the point that you should be at just before you get to the Ten of Cups, which is usually where someone comes into that picture with you, because you can't really have a true Ten of Cups unless you understand that your own happiness and fulfillment comes from within. So the Nine of Pentacles is like that energy, but it's because it's Pentacles, it's real, it's now, it's perhaps how you're physically looking after yourself, how you are looking after your home, your life, your business, everything. You have that, you're maintaining it, you're realizing you're taking your own power here. You're taking your power. It's a very powerful card, the Nine of Pentacles, because it's understanding and knowing your value. And what I find is interesting is how this Nine of Pentacles, the peacock, sorry, is looking at the swan. You know, the swan is this beautiful little creature, but it's kind of focused looking into its own reflection here. But what does it see? There's no indication of this crown chakra area, of this intuitive enlightenment, of this really strong self-awareness and awareness of others, and just growing and doing what your intuition tells you to do. You know, having the faith in that. But this is an important stage to be in before you get to the peacock. And I feel like this is kind of, you know, if you're doing the path, if you're following yourself, your higher self, and your gut, it's almost like looking back on yourself, where you were, and who you are now, and what you are about to become. Because, you know, it's interesting that the Hanged Man is sitting under the swan, and the Hanged Man is, you know, not really going anywhere, sitting in a bit of a stasis, looking at everything from a different way. You know, maybe it's the first time the swan has ever really taken note of itself. Maybe it's always been in water that was very ripply, and it just went out one morning and it was dead calm. It was like glass. And then the swan could see itself. And it just sat out in the water and looked and observed and understood in this Hanged Man energy. And you know the bat, the sweet little bat who does so many good things for the environment. Maybe we just shouldn't eat them, you know, and leave them alone in their caves. But I think Earth and nature do play a part in reminding us to be humble. And that's a little bit of what I get from this Hanged Man and the Swan. It does feel like a very strong message about the reminder to be humble. And you can't do that until you look within. You can't really do that until you look within, and then you can see that anything that you expect, whether good or bad, from someone else is often a projection of something within you. Whether that projection is on an individual basis, on a society, on a nation, a country, a political system, anything. Because when you move into this peacock energy, this Nine of Pentacles energy, you can't really be there. Like this is a very confident energy. This is victory sitting underneath it with the Six of Wands. This is recognition. Recognition of self, recognition from peers and groups around you, people around you, recognizing you. But to truly achieve that and receive it remember, is to do it in this very humble way. It's not that you want that. You've just become that. You don't seek it. You just are it. When you seek it, when you seek anything, there is sort of a feeling of lack, right? You're seeking it because I lack it. I lack it. And then you realize that you actually don't lack anything. Look at this. Look at how much easier it becomes with this victory. They're both I find it interesting that they're both exactly the same color here. And they're both creatures that can fly. Now, it's much easier for this butterfly to take flight. But it's come out of all of these twigs and branches and it's found its way. Where I would see the peacock energy would have difficulty. But it's as if you've at least being asked to continue, and it's for a lifetime. There's always things that will happen to us, people that we will meet, situations that will occur in our lives that will always put us back a bit and make us stop and think. Because there's always another layer. Like, you're just like these multi-layers of onions inside and just peeling it and peeling it. And once you think you've gotten to the core of one onion, you know what, you probably have a little break there. You don't have to peel any onions for a while, but at some point there's going to be something again, because it's the only way that we really grow and develop. And yeah, there's some interesting energy coming in with these pixies. So I think this is really showing that being able to take that flight easily, because you do drop a lot of the all of that fancy, showy imagery of the peacock, that massive tail. It's a big bird. It's quite a big bird. But to then take the victory with this, but without everything that, the heavy energy that can come with it, you can just fly up through the branches and take victory. There's an awful lot of blue here. The nightingale is standing on like this bluish globe. The swan has got all the blue. I just showed you the peacock and the butterfly, and now the sea serpent. This is about to make something. So it sort of feels like, what we've been going on here, what changes have been happening, because expect powerful change. It's going to be scary sometimes. Even when it's good, it's scary. Even when it's good, it's scary because it's change. And we just think, how will I adapt? How will I react? What should I do? What's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know. There's an awful lot of I don't knows in change. You don't have to know. With the sea serpent. Yeah, it feels very much like coming into a very destined energy, a very destined time. Wow. It's a very... I'm getting the message. This is a very privileged time to be here right now. Many people are not recognizing that. This is a very, very privileged time to have incarnated here right now, to be here right now. This is a very transformative time. This is a time where things will be created that were not imagined to be created before. But we're not in that energy yet. Like, this is where we're going. I feel like this is where we're being led to with the Oakman. It's taking us over into this collection of pixies, because now sitting under the sea serpent is the Father of Swords. And look at his sword. It's not blue. It's got all the colors in there. All the colors, which is what I'm seeing here behind this eclipse. Expect powerful change, which is what sits between the Oakman and the collective of pixies. And the collective of pixies has this color starting to come from the tops of their head. This is this color, this inspiration, this change, this creative energy, this new life force almost. And it's, you know, it's interesting that I was sort of called to pick the decks that I did because they are very colorful decks. So with this Father of Swords, before we leave the Oakman, with this Father of Swords and the Sea Serpent, great truth here. It's a truth that comes from within, almost like it's a... It's like the pressure of the stress of the situation that's going on right now opens something up inside. That's what I see. Like, it's a little bit like a pressure cooker. It's a little bit like a pressure cooker. This pressure's been applied and it creates a very different end product than if you had just cooked it in a pot. All the same ingredients, but by applying this pressure, it really causes things to come together that wouldn't have come together in that time period. It kind of creates a different flavor in life too. It creates a different flavor in life. But I do get this message that this truth, this knowing, this seems like a very, okay, interesting. One of the last messages I'm sort of getting from them right now is that this is a very important time in terms of deciding what you want your path to be right now, because there are going to be, and it feels like I'm kind of getting this feeling that it's already started, that there are going to be very strong energy differences between people that are going, they are sort of allowing their vibrational energy to rise up. That's not easy to do because you have to do this. You have to do this. Like, you have to see things within you that have been holding you back. You have to look at your own ego. You have to look at a lot of things. You have to look at what part you played in anything that didn't work out for you, or you thought someone took advantage of you, or however that is. You always have to see your part in it because you are the only thing that you have control of in this lifetime. There's going to be, I'm feeling that there's going to be drastic shifts in economies, drastic shifts in prosperity and lack. It's really feeling like this is kind of your time to choose what it is you believe in. I'm just pausing because I'm kind of getting prepared to go into the collective of Pixies. I'm just trying to give it time to see if there's anything else that's coming in. Yeah, the Sea Serpent, it is sort of continuing to tell me like we're all going to be creating things here. But what you create is up to you. I'm also getting an interesting message where some people will feel compelled to move to different areas. If you do, if it feels somehow intuitively right for you that you should be moving somewhere, that perhaps you should be. This is almost like this is not just, because it is an energetic, an intellectual, an emotional, a spiritual shift in people, it will become a physical shift. Because if you are vibrating at a certain energy, if you have a certain outlook in life, if you truly believe that you are not a prisoner to any system here on earth because you are above that, you are beyond that, you are more than that, you are not a prisoner to anything that occurs here. And please don't confuse that with feeling that you can walk outside without a mask because you are almighty and it's your God-given right. That's the ego talking. That is absolutely the ego talking. That is where someone is holding this energy and there's nothing underneath it. There's been none of this process ahead of time. Because a truly enlightened energy would make the smallest, it's a small sacrifice to do something like that for others outside of you. It's really just opening up to the journey, because there's something to be created. What you're going to create will be up to you. How you see the world will be up to you, because how you see the world is how you're going to create your world. That's what I knew something wanted to come in, and that's what it was. How you see your world is how you're going to create your world. That's where you're going here. I think most of the people coming in to this are probably going to be creating a pretty good world for themselves. But have faith in yourself. Have faith in the journey. If you've always lived somewhere and for whatever reason you're just feeling compelled to go somewhere else, and you're not doing it out of fear, if you're not making that choice out of fear, as soon as you're making any choice out of fear, you're usually making the wrong choice. Then that might be part of your journey, I'm getting. So I think I'm going to have a sip of water. And let's get into a collective of Pixies here. I'm going to show you the cards that came out. So their first deck, the Starseed Oracle deck. Interesting first card, Cracked Open, Rock Bottom, Surrender to the Alchemy of Life. The next card is Earth Pulsing, Pulse of the Mother, Slow Down, Time in Nature. See the colors? This is what I mean. Like, this feels like a whole new world. Big picture thinking. Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. Now what's interesting is that every single tarot card that came out was a major arcana sitting underneath these. The first one was the Sun. The next one is, I think it's pronounced the Aeon? Aeon? Which is like the Judgment. It's like a phoenix. And if you didn't remember what came out, I'll show them what they're paired up with. And then we have Magus, the Magician, or Magus. I don't know, everyone always comments, and you should say it this way. No, you should say it this way. However you want to say it. Let's call it the Magician. It is the Magician card. It is the manifestation, which is interesting because, you know, this is why I made note of the underline in the tarot, because the Magician is what appears underneath this inverted, this reversed tower moment under the Three of Swords. So, Cracked Open, Rock Bottom, Surrender to the Alchemy of Life is what the Sun card is sitting under. I'm getting the message, you are the source of your own wish fulfillment. Realizing what that wish fulfillment is often isn't realized until one does hit rock bottom. Earth Pulsing, Pulse of the Mother, Slow Down, Time in Nature is the Aeon. The rebirth, the judgment. And big picture thinking. Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas with the Magician. You know, so many people, their thinking is very small and limited. Sometimes it's hard to see beyond ourselves. And that's what we're going to be asked to do. Really going to be asked to see beyond ourselves. The cards underneath. So I remember, soul plan, the fated life versus the destiny life. You know what I get from that? I get like, and please put how you see this, but for me, the fated life, I believe that the fated life are things that are fated for you. And when I say that, I mean, it's there for you, but you won't necessarily achieve it or move to it if you don't allow yourself to grow to certain levels in this lifetime. It's all lined up there. It's, you know, but if you just never choose that path, well, you won't find that part of your fated life in this lifetime. Whereas destiny are things that I find that you meet regardless. Destiny, I find, are things that you meet regardless of how you are functioning, at what level you are functioning. Now, if you are destined, let's say, to meet someone, and it works out, that's probably an indication that that's also joining up with your fated. Because you are doing things for yourself that are giving you a higher vibrational energy to meet the high vibrational energy of this destiny. Now, if you meet that destiny low, it can become heavy, bad, difficult, deconstructive. I did see in one of the comments, I think it was for the Capricorn reading, with the Two of Cups, the soulmate, possible twin flame. And, you know, there were very beautiful comments. And then there was someone who was commenting like their twin flame, yeah, he's in jail and all these bad things were happening to her. And I just thought, like, this is meeting your destiny, but in a very low, you know, it's not going to work out. So your soul had a plan when it came here. I want to say, can you make your destiny and your fated life come together? Because in the word fated is your fate. And I hear faith too. Faith in yourself that you can do this. The Princess of Wands is on the bottom of the tarot. Interesting energy combination. I mean, she's holding the sun on her wand. She is full of this fire and this spark. The Aries symbol is on the pedestal, and there's a tiger here. There's an awful lot of Aries and Leo energy. You know, what I get from this fire is very volcanic. Very volcanic energy. And that's what I envision as, you know, the start of a new earth. Not necessarily that's, meaning if that happened all over the earth, it would wipe everything out and it would be, no, we wouldn't be here. No, it's more like energetic. I mean, how did the earth start? How did land form? Volcanic eruption. How does new land form? Volcanic eruption. This is almost like allowing your life to take a course where there may be volcanic eruptions. And through that, new life and new courses, new roads to meet your fate are created. Wow, the cracked open, with rock bottom and surrender to the alchemy of life. It feels like this is the last card in the Oakman, and this is the first. So becoming this, allowing yourself to see you, to see what your wishes are, because the sun is sitting under that. The blending of your mind, it's removing who you were, like who you thought you were. This outside is just a shell. It's what you are on the inside is where you're also powerful. Wow. I just imagine like almost these beings that have become so evolved that they no longer are using these outer shell, right? They're just a source of light and energy. I always find it fascinating, like the quantum physics and talking about, you know, different realities existing, different strings of reality. And I really, myself personally, I feel really strongly about that. I think it explains a lot of unusual things that happen in life. The Mandela effect is, you know, there's all sorts of examples of that. But, you know, and I see that in too, where you can live in a neighborhood and you can have people that, you know, you resonate with, and they kind of see life the way you do. Like they see all these positive things. They see this happens and this is pretty positive. Well, that happened and that didn't work out. But you know what we can learn from that? We can learn. And, you know, there's this idea of growth and expansion. And then there can be other people in the same place and time as you, and they can't see it. It's literally like we're looking at each other through these little windows of reality. And I feel like those windows of reality are going to be further apart. Like some of us are going to be going onto these streets, like the further, like if you have two strings that are right together, I want to say that those strings of reality are so similar that the differences are very hard to notice. And you know, they would just be, most people would just say, oh, that's just no circumstance, or I forgot that wrong. But then I think as you move down these strings of reality, there are more and more differences. And that's kind of what's coming through here, which reminds me of what we're getting from the Oakman, that you're going to be creating your world. Like how you see your world is how you're going to be creating it. It's how you're going to be projecting yourself on these little strings of reality. And you think, oh, how do you physically jump? I don't think you do. I've always felt that your conscious mind is your consciousness, your subconsciousness, whatever it is that you describe as your soul and your existence, that to me can exist split up in many different lives that you're living right now. But you make a choice to be consciously, the most consciously aware in at least one of these lifetimes. And that's what you're choosing now. Where will you take the consciousness? Because if you really want to go back into negative thinking, into negative ideas, into darker explanations for existence, as opposed to looking to light, believing in magic and believing in the magic that you are, you can revert your consciousness back to another level of reality where part of your consciousness does sit, because we are all one. I know it's kind of mind-blowing, right? But there's a lot of stuff in quantum physics that's quite interesting about that. And you know, what is that computer called again? It's not even really a computer. And it deals with freezing a molecule to a point that it is so close to absolute zero. And in doing that, like they say that the computer can actually exist in two realities. It can exist in one and zero at the same time. And I watched a video where scientists were talking about this, or physicists were talking about this, and that they were saying that they could steal resources from another reality. It's just like, it's almost hard for your mind to comprehend. Like, it's very expansive. We're just little human beings having this existence. But I really getting this, like surrendering to the alchemy of life, to make it something that you can grasp in your everyday life right now, is just accepting and acknowledging what it is that you feel. And then trying to understand why you feel that. Are you feeling that based on programming and labels that you've allowed other people to put on you, or that you've put on people? Or are you trying to look at things openly? Because the sun is sitting here. Once you crack this open, your wish fulfillment is there. What is that wish going to be, though? Right? Where are you leading yourself? Slow down, time in nature. I really like that. And this is the rebirth. This is the slowing down. And we're kind of doing that, aren't we? We're kind of realizing Spider-Man is watching the video. We're really doing that. And look at how beautiful this earth is. Oh, and look at that. Her body is like this energy orb. It's not even like a three-dimensional body. It's kind of what I said, like having this evolutionary process of just existing in light and energy without the physical form. Reconnecting again. Where did I read somewhere that the, was it the Schumann resonance of the earth? The vibrational frequency of earth has shifted dramatically since like a lot of industry and everything has just stopped. I don't know, someone's theory was that, you know, because we're not banging the earth so much, that it's actually calmed down too. It's just a massive global energy shift. To allow a rebirth, a true rebirth that is removed from so much distraction of what mankind has made. And mankind has made a lot of things based on ego instead of the higher good. Because that's the kind of rebirth that at least I think the collective of Pixies would like to see. And earth pulsing. I think it's interesting that would come up in the, you know, this Schumann resonance. I think that's what it was. Has changed. Because you are here. You are made up of the earth. Every one of us are. Otherwise, you'd have to go into the recycling bin. You couldn't go into the ground, right? You're totally organic. You are totally made of the earth. Otherwise, you'd have to be recycled. Everything actually is, really. Some things are more toxic than others, and some things take more time to break down. But really, everything is made of the earth. And, you know, you could talk about man-made chemicals. Well, it was still all stuff that came from here. It's just everything is. Everything is. How soon you can become part of the earth again depends, I guess, on how far pulled away you are from those original earthly molecules. And I feel that this is the intention, is to bring you back to your basic self. If we could imagine a world, like if we think about all of the technology that we have now, all of this scientific information we have about so many different things, all of the inspiration and intuition that can be used to create new ideas and new possibilities to give to the scientists and the engineers to create magic, right? That's what it is. I mean, we could be living in a utopian world, but we're still holding on to a lot of dogma. Like a lot of people are still holding on to the idea that there's always somebody trying to take something from you, or somebody is trying to suppress you, or somebody is trying to do that to you, or so, you know, it's not. You really have to look beyond that and see that you have the most power in your life. You really do. Because we could be in quite a world, really, with all of the technology and information that we have and can share now. it's this feeling of lack too. That, well, you know, there just isn't enough to go around. Oh, there's lots to go around. The big picture thinking. See, this is kind of what that is. I feel like they've really opened my mind up to, you know, thoughts that I haven't really articulated in a long time. Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. And see, this is the manifestation process. Every one of you can work here to manifest something absolutely amazing. Something, you know, only thought of by the stars, of the stars. Something that you would have only thought of or imagined through like a Star Trek episode or a Buck Rogers episode. It's almost like they're waiting, right? It's almost like these sources of energies are waiting for us on either side of these pillars, like to walk through a gate. Some people will walk through it and some people won't. The people who don't walk through it probably end up living in a different part of the world than you, seeing the world differently than you. They can live right next door to you and the world seems like a terrible place and nothing goes right and da-da-da-da-da. And you just see each other on either side of the pillars too. You can look at that. You can see there's two people on one side of the pillar and two on the other side. And that's what life may just become. Well, it kind of already is, but I feel like whereas you are living this parallel life to someone else, but in a very different energy signature than they are. I'm kind of just getting the message that this is going to be more and more pronounced. The differences are going to become stronger and stronger here. There will be people who are living very, very high vibrational lives, very open lives, very, very open to the possibilities of those around them and themselves. And they may become very prosperous, but not because that was their intention. That's just part of living a prosperous life, abundance, where others are focusing on the negativity or focusing on outside sources from themselves that they feel are entrapping them or that they feel are holding them back or imprisoning them, where the only one doing that to them is them. But you can't convince people. You really can't. I guess you can talk and try to lead and live by example. But people will only see it when they're really ready to see it. And it's, you know, they're where they're supposed to be right now. You're where you're supposed to be right now. I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. I had my little deck ready, like to pull, it's interesting what's on the bottom. I have my little deck ready to pull clarifiers, but I don't feel like I need to. I really don't feel like I need to. Especially when I see what's on the bottom. There it is. That is the devil. Yeah, you know what? That's what's inside you. And it's, you know, perhaps, you know, the devil is associated with this earthly realm, this existence, this falling from the Garden of Eden. But I think the whole idea why any of us come here on earth is to really understand our own light. To be truly separated from source. Perhaps in the most, maybe, you know, we're living here right now on earth so strongly separated from source because Earth is the only place we can do that. And if you can do that here and you can find your light again, then you really have shown yourself and the energy in the universe that you are the light. It's easy to be the light when there's no darkness. But when there's darkness, you know, when you come here and you experience the all of the things that you desire and that you want, and the existence of an ego, which is really there to keep you safe, but do you let it get out of control? Right? And you start to recognize, am I making decisions based on fear? Am I making decisions based on my higher good or my intuition? Because for me, I really believe that, is that the devil energy is not an outside source. The devil energy is in you. It's in me. And as you move through life and you do try to recognize that and see it, it really diminishes. It really does start to diminish, but it's not to say that I don't think that any of us ever to, you know, move to a point where there isn't some of this in us. And at any given time further down in life, it will trigger, something will trigger. It's just a reminder. Don't forget you're the light. Don't let this take over you. Don't forget you're the light. Don't forget. One of my favorite songs, it's one of my favorite songs right now. It's an old one. Well, it doesn't seem like it should be old to me. It's like it was that long ago. I think it's about 10 years now. It's off of Madonna's Candy Shop album, and it's Even the Devil Wouldn't Recognize You. I find that to be such a profound song. If you listen to that song and you look in the mirror, but all the words that she's singing to that song, it's not singing it to someone else, to me. You're singing it to yourself. I find that really, and I think that's the only way to really look at that energy, is what is it in you that has produced this situation, or what is it in you that you need to just look at and work through a little bit. It's not bad. We all have it. We're all doing it, right? That's it. This has been, this feels very preachy, very preachy, but I'm dealing with two energies here, so please forgive me, with the Oakman and the collective of Pixies. I kind of feel that that's all that's wanted to be said at this time. Okay, the Oakman have asked me to pull out one final card for you from the Elki deck, the She Who. Oh, come on, guys, there's three. Oh, She Who nurtures, empathy, gentleness, insight. Don't forget that. And even when somebody seems like an asshole, just know, you know what? They just need some love in their life. Maybe you're the person to do that, or maybe you're not. Right? She Who persists, perspective, defiant, and persistent. Be persistent with who you are and who you know yourself to be and who you want to be, who you believe you are, who you know you were before you came here, who you know you were before labels were placed on you. She Who calms, stillness, purity, and quiet. I like that. After those other two, and then that's where you are. Oh, and look at, we have that owl flying in behind her. The very last card that came out. Interesting. Could be Aquarius energy too, with the swords. The dawn of Aquarius. Maybe it is an indication that we are moving towards this less self-centered existence. A much more expansive, community-based, creative, funky, weird existence, right? That's, yeah. All right, guys. Well, there you go. That was that for this week. I think next week it'll just be the collective of Pixies, and we'll be, unless I feel anything different, we'll continue to use the Starseed Oracle and the Millennium Thoth tarot deck. So thank you, guys. Thanks for coming in. Until next time, do be gentle with yourselves. Bye.